Greetings, fellow action figure connoisseurs, and welcome to another episode of Digital Caveman Presents Star Wars Wednesday. I, as always, am your host, the Digital Caveman, and today I will be presenting you with Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Officer Dark Times. Let's get into it! Let's begin with a look at the packaging. And on the top here we have a window to let some light in and a hook. Then Star Wars The Black Series. Nice big window showcasing the figure, or at least most of him, and his accessory. Star Wars Andor Imperial Officer Dark Times. Assortment number. Warning! Don't stick things in your pie hole that do not belong there. 4 and up Hasbro print. On the bottom, small print, fine print, legalese print, symbols I'm not going to learn, made in China print, and a barcode. On this side, a sliver of a window, and then the stripe from the front continues around upwards at an angle. Star Wars The Black Series there at the bottom. On this side, Imperial Officer Dark Times, and there's some nice artwork of the officer in question. Then on the back, Star Wars The Black Series Imperial Officer Dark Times. In an era filled with danger, deception, and intrigue, Cassian Andor embarks on a path that will turn him into the great rebel hero who will challenge the evil galactic empire. And spoiler alert, die. He's O2 in the Andor line, or subline, or however you want to say it. From the end, he's O2 from the Andor series. How about that? Attention! Don't stick things in your French pie hole. Includes figure and accessory. Warning, attention, Octoon. Don't stick things in any language pie hole that do not belong there. Don't give it to babies. Some more small fine legalese print, made in China print, Disney print, and Hasbro print. That, my friends, completes our look at the packaging. Let's take a look at the figure and his accessories. And here we have handy dandy tweezers, and we'll take a look at the accessory first. And here we have an Imperial pistol of some kind. This may have been released with a figure before. I am not 100% sure. But regardless, it does kind of have that gunmetal ish look to it. It is molded in color, no paint apps on it at all. There is a little bit of glittery flecks in the plastic, so, but for the most part it's a nice looking mold with nice little details in it. And before anybody asks, no, the way the figure comes in the package, you cannot easily pull this off. It is glued to his back, and you will have to cut it off very, very, very carefully. Now, I did cut mine, and I did nick it, and I'll show you where I did it. But the easiest way I found to do it is to pop him apart here at the waist, flip the cape up to the glue, and just slowly start cutting with something super sharp. Just make sure that you are of age to handle sharp equipment, and kind of know what you're doing. So anyway, let's take a look at the figure. Nice paint app there on the cap, which is a separate piece glued on molded in this black plastic. And I like the face sculpt. However, the eyes do seem a little off, like they're slightly side-eyeing. And I don't know if that was intentional, or if everybody's is like that, or if that was just a goof on mine. I don't know. And then, you know, the mustache and the sideburns, very, very Star Wars looking. And we've got a little paint app here on the cloak, and then paint app here on the chest, paint apps for the belt, and that pretty much covers the paint app. Everything else, I do believe, is molded in color. Now, where I nicked mine is right here. You really can't notice it with the cloak on, and in order, once you get it cut off, pop the head off, and you can slide the cloak up, and then you can see right there where I nicked it. And again, it's not too bad, and at least now I can use this guy without his little cloak if I want to. I'm gonna have to clean this up on his back a little bit and maybe sand it a little bit, and some black paint, because you can see some glue residue, and it is a weird shaped peg in there, so it's not just glued on, it's actually like pegged and glued. So, but let's take a look at his articulation without the cloak, because the cloak does hinder it pretty bad as far as the arms go. He can look up this far, and the head is on a dumbbell that goes into the neck, and then there's a ball for the neck, and it is, the head and neck are separate from the torso and each other, so it is actually 3 pieces there. And that gives him some chicken neck, some waggle, and he can do the full exorcist. Now, without the cloak on, his neck might look a little bit long, but I think it's okay. At the shoulder, and this is a shame that they covered it with and glued that cloak on, is that he's got a nice little butterfly in here. And of course, it doesn't move a whole lot. It gives you back that much, and it doesn't really give you much forward at all. Arm can rotate 360 degrees. And raises up not quite 90 degrees. In fact, it's a bit short there. Hinge and swivel at the elbow. Swivels around 360 degrees. And gives you approximately a 90 degree bend. 360 degree rotation at the wrist. And this one is on an in and out hinge. This one is also on an in and out hinge. Cut at the waist for 360 degree rotation, but it's on a dumbbell, so you get some hula going on in there too. You can lean left and right, lean back that far, and lean forward that far. So not the greatest, but it's not bad. Now if they just include a waist and that chest and abdomen cut in Black Series, we'd be doing a lot better. Now at the hips, this end of his regular jacket piece, it is cut on both sides to allow the legs a little bit extra movement, but not a lot. He can do that much of the splits. He can kick forward that far, which is not great. Back is it's not as good, but it's better than some Marvel Legends kit. It's about 2.5 to 3 steps back. There is a cut at the upper thigh for a 360 degree rotation, because these are reuse from the other Imperial officers that we have. Tarkin, Vice Admiral Rampart, and Piet. Although I do not have Piet. So that one I'm just guessing at. But double hinged pinned knee gives you that much bend. And then at the ankle down that far, so wow. Up that far, not bad. And forward facing pin for rocker. And as far as storage for his weapon, he holds it in his hand, and that's pretty much it, folks. You rebel scum. That, my friends, does it for a look at the figure and his accessories. It's time for my favorite part of a review, comparisons. And here we have several Imperial officers from Star Wars The Black Series. In the front, we have Imperial Officer Dark Times from Andor. From A New Hope, we have Grand Moff Tarkin. From The Bad Batch, we have Vice Admiral Rampart. And from The Mandalorian, we have Moff Gideon. For our final set of comparisons, here we have from Star Wars The Black Series, from the Andor show, Imperial Officer Dark Times, with, from Marvel Legends series, making his cameo appearance, Stan the Man Lee. From the G.I. Joe Classified series, we have the Hasbro Pulse exclusive Regal variant, Cobra Commander. Our last Black Series comparison, the Archive Edition 501st Legion Clone Trooper. And for a 7-inch comparison, we have the Masters of the Universe Masterverse 40th Anniversary He-Man. For final thoughts on the Star Wars The Black Series, Imperial Officer Dark Times, as seen in Andor, I have to say, overall, I like this figure, okay? I definitely like the face sculpt. It really takes me back to that 70s original Star Wars vibe that you really carried on through the entire original trilogy. But this guy just looks like he stepped out of the 70s. And I know that he looks like he did in the show. And, you know, that's just the makeup. But to me, this guy looks like he stepped right out of A New Hope. That era of the original trilogy movies. Now, for the negatives, I have to say he does have, like, where his shirt collar is. And you can't really see it with the raincoat on, or the rain cloak. But he does have like a little black line ring around the collar on his neck. And so, I don't know, I may have to see if I can get that off with some alcohol or some acetone-free nail polish, just to clean it up a little bit. And they glued the cloak on him, which is a real shame, because I think this I think this mold, you know, could almost, not quite, it needs a little bit of tweaking, but could almost replace all the other Imperial Officer molds, or the other Imperial Officer mold that we have that was used on Tarkin and Rampart and Piet. And so I really think, you know, this is a step in the right direction, but I really wish they hadn't have glued the cape on and just automatically made it a removable piece. And it's not super difficult to cut it loose, but you just have to take it slow and be really, really careful. And I was really, really careful doing mine. I still cut a little small hole in the raincoat. And then, of course, the back will need some cleaning up once you get the glue cut off, because it's pegged in there, it looks like, and it has a really funny shaped looking peg. So a little bit of sanding, a little bit of paint, and that should fix that right up. But other than that, it doesn't have a lot of paint apps on it, but where they are good. They're mostly clean. Again, I mentioned the neck, where it's not, you know, it looks like they messed up a little bit. The face looks great. The only issue I have with the face is, I don't know if it's just mine, if it's all of them, if it was a mistake at the factory. Mine seems to have just a slight bit of that McFarlane side eye. Just slightly. Not to the extreme like McFarlane usually does it. But to see that on a Hasbro figure it's a little bit unsettling, I'll be honest with you. But again, other than those few things I mentioned, this is a good figure. I don't know if he's really worth that quote-unquote exclusive price, but there it is. And again, there is some reuse from previous Imperial officers, most notably the legs, so I would like to see them update that leg sculpt and match it with, you know, the ball waist that they have on this one. And the arms, I would like to see a little bit more range of motion out of the butterfly on the arms, but as it is, it's okay. It helps him. He can clasp his hands behind his back a little bit better. Well, that, my friends, does it for the review. I hope that you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it. Only support from viewers like you make this programming possible. Each view does count, and I do appreciate each and every single view that I receive. Thank you, and thank you so very, very much for supporting this channel through viewing. Excuse me. Comment below, like, share, subscribe if you'd like to see more reviews or just help the channel out further, or both, that's even better. And don't forget to ding that bell so that in the future you will be notified as my new content becomes available. That's a wrap, folks. I'll see you next time.